All right, 3 easy fixes coming at you fast to help you add pounds to your squat, to help you squat more efficiently, more effectively, get stronger faster. I'm Phil Meggers from Testify Strength and Conditioning here in Omaha, Nebraska. Tip number 1, get the bar in the right spot. Get the bar sitting right on your delt, so below the spine of your scapula, but sitting on your delt. So if it's sitting below that, you got a problem. It's going to start to roll down your back, or your hands are going to be left supporting the bar, which is no bueno, which for those of you who speak a lot of languages is Spanish for not bueno. Also, if it's sitting too high, it's going to tend to roll up your neck when you're squatting, also not bueno. Tip number 2, when you start to squat, you're going to shove your knees apart. Yes, technically forward and apart, but you're going to focus on the apart aspect. So going along with tip number 2, make sure that you've taken a stance that permits this. So you're looking for a stance that's about shoulder width apart, your heels are about shoulder width apart, you're going to point your toes out about 30 degrees, so that when you shove your knees apart, which will help you get depth, that means that your knees, your femurs, are going to be pointing in the direction of your toes. Tip number 3, and this is kind of a 2-part tip, as you start to squat, you're going to reach back with your hips and you're going to point your chest at the floor. In other words, tip number 3 is you're going to get leaned over on the way down, and the second part of this tip, you're going to stay leaned over for longer than you think on purpose on the way up. Equivalently, that means you're going to drive your hips up out of the hole. Now, your bonus tip is to go along with this, constant, relatively horizontal back angle. Pick a spot out in front of you on the floor, 4 to 6 feet, something like that, and stare at that spot the entire time you're squatting, even in between reps. So, tip number 1, get the bar in the right spot on your back. Tip number 2, shove your knees sideways as you start to squat. Keep them out while you're squatting. And tip number 3, get leaned over on the descent, stay leaned over on the ascent. As always, we hope this helps you get stronger and live better.